Hi, I'm Nicole.
I'm Megan.
And we are the authors of Adaptive Listening, and this is
Meet the authors.
The Authors.
What's it like to be first-time authors?
It's horrible. Don't do it. Never do it.
Oh my gosh! It is intense, stressful, cool,
It's exciting.
challenging, privilege. No one asked me to just keep naming words, but I just keep naming them.
Of emotions. And I think this whole time we've had moments where we've said, oh my God, we're brilliant. This is going to be a wonderful book and everyone's going to want to read it. And then 2 minutes later, we'd be like, this is trash.
Yeah.
No one wants this.
Especially some of those early drafts, we'd read them and go, who wrote this? I hope it wasn't me.
For most of it, we just sort of blacked out.
Right, but now it's awesome and you will think so too. Turn it around. Okay, next. What did you do before this?
Here at Duarte, we were and still are writers and speaker coaches. And so we coach on both sides of the communication spectrum now, expressive and receptive, so that's good. But before that, I was a speech and language pathologist. I worked in the medical side of the field and the education side of the field. And then I found this little niche where I help executives find their voice.
I taught. So I was a teacher in the business school at the University of Texas at Austin, also Austin Community College. Before that, Ball State University and Ivy Tech Community College. So teaching communication classes, business communication, dabbled in a little organizational communication, just a smidge of interpersonal communication. So tried out that academic life. Wasn't for me for lots of reasons. At me if you want to know more about that. And then decided to make the transition over to corporate. And it's quick, it's fast, changes every day, get to learn a lot, and get to call myself a doctor and then have you make fun of me for not being a doctor. No, I am a doctor, the rest of them are physicians. All right, words matter, that's what words are.
Doctors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what's your stance on the Oxford comma?
It's non-negotiable.
Yeah, why is it even a conversation? Why would you possibly not include a piece of punctuation that adds clarity to communication?
Mm-hmm.
You too lazy to add the extra one in? Is that the only? I don't have a good reason why someone wouldn't use the Oxford comma.
It should just be.
It just is. It's part of us. What are you have any other pet peeves?
Of writing?
Yeah.
For presentations, I hate when people start by introducing themselves. It's so boring. And also, usually someone has just introduced you, so everybody knows who you are.
Oh man, didn't this video start with, hi, I'm Nicole, hi, I'm Megan? Yikes. But you did say presentations and not videos, so I think that's good.
You're standing on a big stage. You've got 30 seconds or less to capture your audience, and the thing you choose to say is, hi, I'm Nicole, I'm really happy to be here today.
Yeah. You went speaking. Let me go speaking. Mine's also in the intro of a talk. When someone like, hi everyone, who's excited for the day, and the audience is a little quiet. You can do better than that. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, no.
It's your fault they weren't excited the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So all you're doing is, it's like a self-own when you have to do it again. I don't like it.
No.
And there's so much better ways to get engagement in the audience. So, and like, don't berate your audience.
No.
Don't do that. Although I guess I'm berating an audience right now.
Moral
Oh,
of the story.
man.
Megan and Nicole think you can come up with better intros for your presentation.
It's true. And if you can't, please join us, www.duarte.com. We can help you out. All right. What's it like to write a book compared to writing speeches?
So I told a couple people this, but Megan figured out this formula early on in our book writing process. Speeches, especially now, are shorter than they used to be. They have to be direct, they have to be concise, motivational, persuasive. And we realized, okay, for every sentence we're writing in this book, we need 3 or 4 more to describe it and back it up and give more detail. That was hard.
Yeah.
Because we're trained to say more with less.
Yeah. Especially now. When's the last time you were like, oh yay, a 90-minute keynote?
Yeah.
Can't wait. You're not excited to hear one person on stage talk for 90 minutes. Those have to be broken up with multiple speakers or activities, or something's got to change throughout. So we've got really pared down how long we would recommend a keynote is, or if you've got to speak in a setting. And now, going over to writing, everything was just say more examples, expand that, add more. And that was grating to us because we were trained not to do it. So I totally agree with you. I think the other is there's things in writing I don't like faulty pronouns. So if you start a sentence with the word that, and you don't say a noun after, like what that are you referring to? In writing, I don't like it, but in speaking, I love it because it's obvious when you match your delivery skills to it. That is the thing I was just talking about. But in writing, it's woo, nerd.
Super nerd.
Ooh, just got real nerdy.
You know what's funny about that? I remember, because when we write speeches, we always like to read them out loud because we want to hear what they sound like. For a book, we are going to have an audio version, but most people are going to be reading it. And so we realized, well, we shouldn't say it out loud. We should probably read it silently because that's how our audience is going to absorb it. And it was different. We realized, oh, we're saying it out loud with the tone we want them to read it in. That's not quite right. They have to get the tone by reading.
Yeah, how are they going to get our sarcasm on the black and white page?
They're going to know how funny we are.
Don't worry. I know, we're really good. We put a lot of stuff in parentheses. We basically made it a screenplay with sides because we needed you to know that we had so much feeling that we wanted you to understand when you read this book. What do you think is the best book on communication?
Outside of adaptive listening?
Boom, she did it. Yeah, what is it?
Nonviolent communication.
You stole mine, man.
I stole yours?
Yeah, tell them a little bit more about it.
Okay, so Nonviolent Communication by Dr. Rosenberg, whose first name I'm forgetting. He was a psychiatrist and he helped guide conflicts for some pretty hefty groups. Gang to gang, Israeli Palestinians, school board to parents, that kind of thing. And he has a whole formula for how to express yourself with empathy and how to give empathy to others in communication. And it's something our entire leadership team has read. Satya Nadella from Microsoft has made his entire leadership team read it. And personally and professionally, it's changed my life.
You know, we relied on it heavily because of the concept of emotions in the workplace. And we wanted to bring that in a way that was really tangible to people. And some people get a little apprehensive. They're a little allergic to the emotions in the workplace conversation. Well, they happen. It's just part because we're human. So that book helped us a lot. The other book that I'm going to name, because we relied on it a lot, was Alan Alda's If I Understood You, Would I Have This Look on My Face? So any MASH fans out there? So Alan Alda became a science communication expert, if you didn't know. And so this book is a great book and talks about how he helped people in the hard sciences make their science more interesting to the general public. Because if the public doesn't know about it, how are you really going to enact change at the scale that you need to? We're missing out by not being able to understand the technical details. And so there was a lot in there that we turned to really about empathy for the audience. You need that empathy. Word. Those books are good.
They are good.
What was the biggest disagreement you had during the writing process?
So this was funny. I'm a discern listener by nature, and Megan is an advanced listener by nature.
Which means
I like to evaluate and critique things, which sometimes slows down the process, and Megan runs hot. She wants things done quickly, and we found out the first time we went on a writing retreat, my writing in long form, I like to get everything on paper, like word vomit, and then go back and edit. Megan,
I was like, how can we maybe know sentence 2 if sentence 1 isn't right? We must fix sentence 1 before we can write sentence 2. And so that was our constant struggle back and forth. Is you're like, we just want the words on the page. I don't need to be the perfect words right now. Yeah. That was constant with us.
She had to get the paragraph right before she wanted to move on to the next paragraph. So we sort of like flipped roles there. She was more methodical.
Yeah.
And critical, and I was like, let's just get it done. We need some word count here, and then we can go back and fix it. And so,
like, what a great balance. Because can you imagine if I was writing that book alone, I'd still be in chapter 1, and the book's 13 chapters. They're short. They're really great headings. You go fast. It's fine. But I would still be in it.
Yeah.
And then you would have written a wickedly fast,
terrible book.
I let you finish the sentence. I didn't want to say it, but yes, that's probably
would have been a lot of words, and they might not have been the right words, but there would have been
a lot of great words.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the best part about writing the book?
You know, every time we struggled with the amount of work we had or the deadline we had or just not getting part of the model right, we would always remind ourselves that this is for the world,
Mm.
right? This is for other people. And so we would say, the world needs this, and this is empathy, and it's going to bring something. And we both got into this job because we love helping people, and we love solving problems, and we recognized there was such a need for people to have a model for listening in the workplace that just didn't exist. And so every time we got frustrated, just like we tell everyone else to do, we focused on the other person, which is all of you.
Yeah, I think that's true. There were a lot of times where we didn't have an answer. We were taking days to figure out the right model or technique to give people. And then when we land on it, we just step back from the page and go, whoa, this is going to help people.
Yeah.
There are people who don't know how to do this, that work right now. They go to work every day. They need to know how to be able to do this thing. And that's the goosebumpy. Like,
Yeah.
people are going to be better. And we did it. What's one thing you learned about the other during the writing process?
Megan likes to sing everything. She makes up songs all day long, from like, we're making eggs this morning for breakfast, to we just finished the discern listening chapter.
I think it's unfair you didn't add a rhyme in there, because I would say that most of the time
Than I am.
it is
My
me
favorite.
trying to. Nicole's got a red face all over this virtual place, but watch out, friends, it's never gonna end. You just have to just go for it. They won't all be winners, but if you just keep trying, you'll land
A
on
lot of
it.
times I was like, I need to call your husband and be like, oh, Kevin, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. I have such a fun wife.
She's
Sweetheart.
she's fun and creative all the live long day. The things that come out of Megan's mouth are they're a surprise.
Mm.
It's a delight.
I learned that that when Nicole is like tired and done, and I'll ask her a question, she's like, I don't care about that. And I was like, well, we're writing a book with our names on it. Might you like to care just a little bit about the problem we're trying to solve? And then she'd go, I don't mean I don't care. I mean, I don't have a preference. And then, of course, I come back with,
Words girl needs to choose.
words matter. So maybe don't tell me you don't care about this book, that I see you more than I see my husband. So maybe care about it a little.
Yeah.
But I learned that was code for I'm overwhelmed and I can't make another decision.
This reminds me of when I was growing up. When my dad would ask me a question and I was a snippy teenager, my answer would be fine. And he would always say, does fine mean yes? And I'm like, you hit on that one, pussy.
So now
I'm the same person.
the moral of the story, you didn't learn anything from your teenage years.
It's a journey. It's all a journey.
Great. Ooh, okay. Why did you write this book? We noticed some gaps in our own company. Because we're an agency, we're in a unique position. We are all day listening to each other because internal meetings, we're building products and services, so you're in those kinds of teams, but also we serve the needs of clients. So we get to listen internally and externally at just rapid rate, constantly switching between all of them. And it was clear that we'd leave a meeting and we'd all have different impressions of what happened in that meeting. But everyone was paying attention. So it wasn't a multitasking problem. It wasn't a distraction problem. It was how could we have just all been in the same place and came out of it with a different answer? That's really strange. What is happening in there? And we thought, you know what? It's people are listening differently. They're not listening. They're not listening. It's not bad listening. They're not listening the way that we need for each other.
Yeah.
So that's what started hey, let's make a cute little 45-minute workshop, turned into, okay, it's gonna have to be a half-day workshop. There's too much stuff here. Turned into a full-day workshop. There's a lot of stuff. Turned into write a book. And we said, cool, we'll write this cute little 4-chapter book. And then, as mentioned, 13 chapters now. Because that's what it takes to be a better listener.
Yeah.
If it was this easy, we'd all be great listeners.
Yeah.
And we're not. We're not all the time either, because humans, not robots. So it's tough.
Yeah, and our clients were saying the same thing. They would come to us and say, what do I say to my people right now? They're suffering, they're going through a lot. How do I connect with them? And we said, yes, here are things you can say. And are you listening to them? And so we realized if we're having a problem at Duarte and our clients are having a problem in the world, there's a need for a memorable model for listening in the workplace. And so that's what kicked this whole thing off.
Yep.